Hi, I'm Jessica Rasman, and I'm here with my dear friend Jean Barnes. And in this video clip, we're going to be talking about the two main goals for marriage, right? So Jean, with your background of over 50 years in psychology and having been in various stages of life and marriage, can you tell us what are the two main goals of marriage?
Well, I think, first of all, the first goal is we all need to feel loved and we belong to somebody and someone.
Mm-hmm.
So feeling loved is one goal. And then the other goal is, on the other hand, in marriage, the other goal is to encourage our mate to become the person that God created them to be. In other words, to develop who they are and their strengths. And so even if they might not be there yet, which if you marry in the 20s, they most certainly aren't there yet, but you see their potential for the future. And that, I always think of the passage in the Bible about iron sharpens iron. So that can get a little crunchy, because if someone is encouraging you on and then you get into a funk and you think, well, like if in writing, if you get into a funk and then you think, oh, I tried it, no one likes my writing, and you don't go forward, well, then Andy might need to say, now wait a minute, you have a gift in writing, and stop perseverating. You just tomorrow sit down and get right, so that might not feel quite as loving as lovey-lovey, but they're encouraging you just like you would a child. Many times you have to say to your child, failure is a part of life. And you just don't throw in the towel on the first failure. In fact, failures will teach us. And, I think that's sort of a family lesson. I remember once a while ago, I was trying to make yeast dough. Like my mother always made yeast dough around Christmas time, and she had all these wonderful cinnamon rolls and all that. And so I thought, one Christmas, I thought that I would go that route. And unfortunately, I must have killed the yeast or something. So when my rolls turned out, they really weren't what I had anticipated. I remember my son Michael said to me, Mom, he said, they do taste rather brittle, but don't give up. Because I think he thought, stay with this, Mom, because sooner or later they might taste like nanas. And so, it's the idea of encouraging the person on.
Yeah, I love that idea of loving the person where they are, but seeing where they're going to be, or hoping for what they want to become and encouraging them on. And I love that element also of being an individual in the relationship, right? Because we bring different strengths and we have to honor the other person's gifts and remind them of those gifts. It's really beautiful.
And that I think is one of the flaws in many marriages, is one person dominates and then they maybe overtake care of you. Sometimes you see this in perhaps more old-fashioned weddings, where they take over everything and they think they're taking good care of the person, but they are squashing that person's self never develops. In other words, their individual talents, they sort of give up themselves in marriage and they don't become. In today's world, even how difficult it is, because you get maybe two working parents and it's harder. But I love your generation where women are truly, and it's a hard role, because during the time when your children are young, it's a very demanding role.
Right.
But I love the idea that we love being parents, and yet it's one of the most demanding, taxing roles. I think it's one of life's biggest challenges. But there's still a piece of us that needs to be developed beyond that, and happy is the gal who enjoys being a mother, but also is developing that other piece of her. All of us are happier if we find our passion and pursue it. Because that God gave us that passion and those interests.
And what a beautiful aspect of marriage as a safe place where you can continue to develop yourself, right? Where you have that safety that you can continue to become, and there's going to be that loyalty there, that someone's not going to throw in the towel on you, right?
Well, in the trust, not only throw in the towel, but to criticize you all the time. In other words, the encouragement to keep you going, rather than, oh, you never do that right. You know, I mean, that criticism. And so, and there, I think, Hollywood has fed us the message of happily ever after. But when, what do we, happily ever after? But the truth of the matter is, when you think of those two parts, loving each other and encouraging each other to be who they become, and the iron sharpens iron, that isn't happily. I mean, happily ever after came from fairy tales in Hollywood. God's into making us the people who he created us to be, which is a far different story.
All right, that's our clip on the 2 main goals of marriage: loving the person where they are and encouraging them to become who they're going to be, as God created them and gifted them. If you like our videos, please subscribe. Our book that we're writing together is in the works, Families at Their Best, Being Authentic. So tune in for more little clips on what we have going on with that. Thank you.
Thank you.